Well, with summer starting to wind down, yes, those of you on the Gulf Coast in the South, I know you still have a lot of hot weather left. I'm talking about where I'm at here in Colorado. Summer weather's starting to wind down. We're starting to get more days in the 70s. While we still have our hot days, don't get me wrong, summer's winding down. Fall is literally right around the corner. And in this video, I wanted to discuss with you the fragrances that I ended up wearing the most this past summer. Some of these may surprise you and some of these may not. Let's talk about them. Stay tuned. So this one's new to the collection this year. It's a new release for 2021, and it ended up being one of my favorite releases of the year. It's definitely going to make my end of the year favorite pickups for sure. It is the new Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. So what's different about this from Profondo is it's much more fresh green, a little less sharp synthetic and aquatic. Still Profondo at its heart, but much more green. And I just love the way it smells. Yes, Profondo's awesome. I'll never say anything bad about Profondo. I think Profondo is a wonderful flanker in this line, a wonderful addition. This is a flanker to the flanker. It's how they do things nowadays on the designer market, but it doesn't perform as well, but it's not a big difference in performance. This still is a very good above average performer on my skin, longevity and projection. Just like how it smells, just a tiny bit more. Those of you trying to decide between the two, I urge you to get out and sample them. Do what you can to try both, because there are a lot of similarities, but there are a fair share of differences to where I don't think it's necessarily completely redundant if you already have Profondo, but you definitely want to sample this one just in case, because you might find it too redundant if you already have Profondo, or vice versa. This is definitely my favorite of the two. Like I said before, I'll never knock Profondo, but I definitely wore this handful, maybe a little more than a handful of times, and with as many fragrances as I have coming in and out of my rotation, as well as, you know, older fragrances I'm falling back in love with, new olfactive experiences from new stuff I get, you know, handful or so of times in the rotation for a season. That definitely warrants a spot on the video like this. And this is definitely one of my most worn for the summer. It's Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. So still my favorite fragrance, and definitely my favorite summer fragrance. That is PACO Rabanne Invictus Aqua, the 2018 to newer. So I've heard rumblings from a lot of people about discontinuation. I can neither confirm nor deny. I haven't looked into it myself. If so, that's pretty sad. I hate to hear that. I mean, it's my favorite fragrance. And yeah, I still have a good bit. I'm in no rush to get a backup bottle. I will get one eventually, but I strictly wear this in the summer. I'm very, very seasonal with my fragrances, and I have deemed this ideal for summer. Even in the cold weather, when I'm in the mood for something fresh, I go something more fresh greens, fresh spicy. So this never crosses my mind when it's cold outside in the winter. I love the way it smells. It's powdery, it's aquatic, it's fresh, it's citrus. Nothing's gotten me more compliments than this fragrance. It's not a beast, but it's not an average performer. Slightly above, you know, 6-7 hour type of thing on my skin. Pretty loud in the first hour and a half, 2 hours. Definitely can grab some attention. It's grabbed a lot of attention for me over the years, and it's definitely one I go to every summer, and it always gets at least a handful of wearings every summer, which may not sound like a lot, but like I said before, with the way it works with my collection and my rotations, that warrants you being in this video topic. And Invictus Aqua will always end up in this video topic because it's my favorite fragrance, especially for summer. So this is going to seem biased, and I mean, it is what it is. Sorry if you feel that way, but the reality is it's the fragrance I've worn the absolute most this summer, this past spring, early winter, late winter, I mean, when I got it. It's what I wear the most. Business over pleasure. I love the way it smells. It came from here. I mean, of course I'm going to love it. Of course I'm going to wear it the most. There are still a small number of bottles available for those of you that haven't gotten it and are interested in getting it. It's always a link in my video descriptions, but you know, it's fresh, it's bright, it's fresh, spicy, it's creamy, it's powdery, it's a little sweet, it's got this different nuances of woods that kind of changes, a little bit of smokiness from the Gaiac wood. It's everything I wanted it to be. It's not too floral, it's not too powdery, it's not real in your face, it's versatile, you can do anything and everything with it. It's what I wanted it to be. It's basically a blue fragrance because of its versatility and ease of use and ease of wear and how easy it is to like. But it's not your standard shower gel smelling ambroxan synthetic fragrance either. I love this stuff. It's what I wear the most. Like I said, this summer, the spring, as a daily wear, out the shower when I use my shave soap. I mean, I wear it for so many different things. It's almost once a week that I wear this. That's why it's got such a dent in the bottle. I actually have another bottle that I opened as well that doesn't have near the dent, but there's 2 bottles I spray from. So it had to go in this video because I wear it all the time. It's the fragrance I wear the most. It's the fragrance I created alongside master perfumer Claude Deer in collaboration with Zaharoff. TLTG Reviews, business over pleasure. This was such a love at first sniff blind buy for me. It's my favorite in the line. I love the line as a whole, but definitely my favorite. One of my top 5s in my collection, I believe, at this point. Yves Saint Laurent Y, the Eau de Toilette, the original. Just recently got a bottle of the EDP. I used to have a decant of the EDP. I have all of them except the Le Parfum, which I have tested one time. I will get at some point. But this is just so fresh, clean. Bit on the synthetic side, don't get me wrong, but versatile. Actually performs pretty well for me. I know some people report weak performance from this one. It's not a beast, but I get like 6-7 hours. And like I said, that's for a fresh fragrance. That's hitting it strong for me, you know? I've gotten several compliments wearing this fragrance. It's always nice when somebody wants to tell you you smell good or ask you what you're wearing. It never gets old for me. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it's pretty cool in my opinion, you know? It's not what I wear fragrances for, but it is a nice perk and added bonus when somebody tells you you smell good. And this has done that for me so far. I'm glad I have a 100 milliliter bottle and not a 60 ml like I do with all the rest. The other 3 flankers I have are all 60 mls. This is the big full-size bottle that I have. It's one I'll probably wear a few more times before the hot weather's completely gone, which will be in the next 2 to 3 weeks for me. And spray it one more time because I love this stuff. Sage, apple, very, very light blue. And when I say light blue, it's super mass appealing, but very fresh. Blue, but fresher, hence light blue. If you haven't tried it, you really should. I know everybody loves the EDP, and for good reason. The EDP is great. It's a beast. If you want a beast, that's the one to get. But if you want the fresher one, go with the EDT. Hands down, the niche fragrance I've worn the most this summer. Some of you know right away when I say that what I'm talking about. It's ROJA Parfums, Oceania. I have not had this fragrance that long, and I've started to put a pretty nice dent in it. I've worn this 6 or 7 times now. Definitely one of my most worn fragrances, right up there with YEDT. I ended up loving this stuff. Man, it smells so good. I got Burlington 1819 first, and that fragrance blew me away. This did not blow me away at first like Burlington 1819 did. I still think overall that's a more interesting fragrance. That's even more enthusiast level. It speaks to me. But this is just so easy. Easy across the board. You name it. Easy to wear, easy to like, easy for others to like. Works with everything in the heat. This is a high heat gem. I couldn't help myself but go with it when I wanted something that was pretty good quality, not just your average synthetic designer, and I wanted something that, you know, kind of brought a little bit of class to go with what I was wearing. This was the first choice every time this summer since I got this bottle, and I haven't had it for the entire summer, and it ended up being one of the ones I wore the absolute most, even in this video. Get a sample and try this one. Is everybody going to like it the way I do? Oh, of course not. It just don't work that way. It does not work that way. But if you give it a chance, you may end up wanting to get a full bottle because this stuff is very expensive. Hundreds of dollars to get this bottle. But you may end up deeming it worthy of your money because I think it smells great. This was one of the highlights of the summer for me as far as fragrances are concerned. And I'll probably wear it a few more times. I'll probably wear it at least one more time, I'm sure, because it tends to be, it stays on my little rotation table that I have. It never goes back in its box. It's always right there in case I want to spray it. It's ROJA Parfums, Oceania. Now, I didn't spend that much time with Live. I haven't even worn the EDP since I got it. I'm kind of saving it for that fall weather I was just talking about. But FRAICHE. Yes, 2 from the Y line in this video. I wore this just about, well, almost as much as the EDT. My wife's actually worn this one a few times. My wife loves the FRAICHE flanker. It's got this warm lemon smell. Beautiful bright lemon. The ginger's more lemony and adds a warm nature to it. It's smooth. It's not as synthetic as the EDT, I find. While it doesn't perform quite as well, just a smidge weaker in my experience, on my skin anyways, than the EDT, but such a delight, such an enjoyable citrus fragrance. It's fresh and warm. When you can accomplish both, it's just enjoyable. It just works. You don't want something to make your skin heat up a whole bunch in the summer. Obviously, when I say warm, it's got a warm smell. It doesn't warm my skin. That's the ginger doing that. Lemon and ginger together, when they're dominant in the top note, just make a lovely aroma. And this stuff makes a lovely aroma. Is it one of the best fragrances in my collection? No, but it's one of the most likable. It's hard not to like this fragrance. I'm sure there's people out there that don't care for it. The inevitable. But I think it's great. I really do. While not even my favorite in its own line, I think they're all really good and they all serve a purpose. And the purpose of this one is a laid-back, casual summer's day. You may be going run around, do a few things, but it's laid back. There's no hurry, there's no rush, there's no agenda, and no schedule. That's what I think of when I smell this. That's what type of day I wear this for. Definitely one that I wore the most this summer was FRAICHE. This should be expected because I have more bottles of this than I think anything. No, I have more bottles of Windsor. Not anymore. I actually recently gave a gift set away to a viewer. So I take that back. This is what I have the most bottles of. Abercrombie and Fitch, First Instinct together. Now, it's been more so, I still wear it during the day. It still gets its daily casual wears here and there. But I've worn it a lot out the shower this year. A lot out the shower this year. A lot of this juice level that has dropped in 2021 has been out the shower early when it was cooler. Once it warmed up, I have worn it, you know, more than a few times during the day casually. But I still pull it out the shower. It's great. It's an Invictus Aqua type of scent profile for sure. See the similarities in the color of the bottle. It's kind of got a lot of this going on. A little bit of the original with a little bit of this as well. Kind of does a little bit of everything. It's Invictus Aqua meets Y and the original First Instinct. It's sharp synthetic grapefruit, a lot of heavy ambergris. It's a very, very synthetic fragrance, but they pop up at the rack stores for cheap, under 30 bucks, 50 and 100 ml bottles. This is the fragrance I tell you guys all the time, roll the dice on. Some of you are going to love it. Some of you are going to regret the purchase, but you won't know if you don't try it because I don't know where you could sample this. Pretty much got to roll the dice when you see it at the rack stores, and it's a win for me. Put this one in the win column. Clearly, I love this. This is one of the fragrances I feature the most, I recommend the most, and obviously one that I wear the most. Abercrombie and Fitch First Instinct together. While I didn't wear this one that much last year, I found myself going back to it, talking about it, and recommending it a lot more this year. I'm talking about the original Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. You know, this juice level was like here at the beginning of the summer. So I've worn it a good bit. I've worn it out the shower a little bit. I've worn it casually during the day. Super nostalgic for me. 90s in a bottle, in my opinion. This brings me back to the 90s, late elementary, middle school, when I used to wear this heavily. This was my signature scent in my earlier years for sure. Years and years and years ago. We're talking 20 years ago and more than 20 years ago. 25. Yeah, like 25 years ago. That's how long I've had a love affair with Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. Doesn't perform that well, but I don't care. I don't mind refreshing. I have this 30 ml. I have another 30 ml. I have a 50 ml. Every time I see them on clearance at the rack stores, I can't help myself. 8, 10 bucks, buy it. I'll use it over time. I just buy it. Next time I see a 100 ml on clearance or something, in which you can get 100 mls around 20 bucks, that's a great price. But when you see a red tag and it's only 8 bucks, Thank you very much. I'll take that. That's kind of the situation. It's got a dominating cactus, juicy, bitter, fresh, spicy kind of smell up top. It's got this cotton flower that I don't really get much of. I've always thought that was weird in the note breakdown, but there's this lovely grapefruit. It's juicy, bitter, and fresh, spicy, and very, very green. You will immediately think the color green because it's so fresh, spicy, and there's a lot of green notes, obviously. It's enjoyable. I'm not the only one that recommends it, and I really believe you should give it a shot, especially if you're a 90s kid like me. You're going to think of the 90s when you smell this one. It's one I wore a lot this summer. It's the original Tommy. Whether it was travel atomizer or the actual bottle, without realizing it, when I was looking back to really organize what needed to go in this video, I did not realize I wore Dior Sauvage EET this much this summer. I really didn't. I wore Elixir a little bit, just recently got it. I actually wore the Parfum twice, at least once, but I think it was twice this summer. I wore the EDP once, but I actually wore this like 6 times, which is a good bit for me in a short amount of time, especially considering I wore other flankers in its own line almost as many times as I wore this by itself. So I like Sauvage, obviously, and didn't realize I wore this one that much, the EDT. I know some people hate it. I know some people hate when I show it in a video, but reality is reality. I enjoy the scent. I don't have tons of people around me wearing it anymore, so I can enjoy it now. I still have some people around me that wear it. A buddy of mine at the gym, it's his favorite fragrance. I do smell it on him from time to time when he walks in the gym. Yes, I have a buddy that wears Sauvage to the gym. I smell him when he walks by. I always know when he's wearing it. But it's mass appealing, it's fresh, it's versatile, it works for everything. Knock it if you want, but it does the job. It just does. It's a great dumb reach fragrance. It's a great I only have one fragrance type of fragrance. It's a signature scent worthy type of thing. For the modern man, just works. It really, really does. I definitely wore it more than I realized this summer. Sauvage, the Ambroxan Bomb. Last but not least, this was definitely one of my dark horse pickups of the year that I've quietly been enjoying, and my wife enjoys. She's worn it twice that I know of, and it's really good. Quality, bright, fresh green fragrance. It is Maison Franch's KURKDJIAN AQUA Celestia Forte. I picked this up from Bimbo Fragrances earlier, a few months ago. Did a full review on it and everything. It's great. Bright lime. I believe there's a little bit of mint in here. Some petitgrain. It's just, it performs great. It's not too in your face, but it's definitely not weak. I mean, it's like every bit of an 7-ish, 8-hour fragrance. Really a little bit more. If you spray your clothes, it'll be there the next day. This stuff's great. Perfectly unisex, not too masculine. Like I said, my wife's worn this twice that I know of. She may have worn it a little bit more. Juice level looks like she may have worn it more than twice. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might have to ask her. But sample this one. I mean, it's a 70 ml. It's super expensive. But man, it's classy without being too serious. It's laid back without being playful. It's super versatile. This is mega versatile. Great spring, summer, fall, 3-season fragrance, but light enough to where it really worked well in the heat this year. I actually brought it to Chicago with me. One of the 2 times I went to Chicago as well. Used it in a smell and rate video. Wore it twice while I was there, actually. It's really, really good. Like I said, sample this one. Try it. I know there's a lot of MFK fragrances that are just great, so it's really hard to narrow down if you're just going to buy one, but let this be in the running. Definitely sample it if you can. I wore it a lot more than I realized, just like with Sauvage. Maison Francis KURKDJIAN AQUA Celestia Forte is just a delightful, quality, fresh green fragrance. That's the 10 I wore the most this summer. I didn't even realize I wore AQUA Celestia Forte and Sauvage as many times as I did. I had to look back at scent of the day posts and think back to rotations and stuff like that. Like, I really wanted to be accurate with this. Now there's some out the shower fragrances that could have technically went in here, but I didn't want to make it a 15 or a 20. I wanted to keep it down to the 10 that I wore the most. And these were definitely those. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. What have you wore so far the most this summer? Because I say so far because for some of you, summer weather is far from over. But for those of you that aren't really in the southern region where you know, 70-degree weather is starting to pop in here and there for you like it is for me, you're coming to the tail end just like I am. That's why I went ahead and did this video now instead of a month from now, because I'm not in Texas, Louisiana area anymore. I'm out in the Colorado mountains, and I've got some lovely weather going on right now, and the fall is literally right on the cusp at the end of this month. So until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the 10 that I wore the most this summer and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.